Hey guys, here to talk to you about the Star Wars Rebels episode, the Antilles Extraction. Gonna go into full spoilers. If you haven't seen it, this is your warning. You have been warned. Okay, let's jump in. Obviously, as the title told you, this was the introduction of Wedge into Star Wars Rebels and really into sort of Star Wars canon, his official history, I should say. Obviously, his introduction to Star Wars canon is A New Hope, but because everything else, all the expanded universe stories, now called legend stories, aren't official, it really kind of took away any history we had about Wedge. And yes, he's been used in a couple of the novels now that take place in between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens, but there's plenty more to learn about him now, and this is kind of the beginning of that. And getting to know him as a young pilot who was being trained by the Empire, I thought was a cool way to do it. But obviously, you know, showing that he was quickly not happy with the way the Empire did things, wanted to jump ship and use Sabine to do just that. Really liked all that, but as fun as that was with Wedge, I actually really liked the episode even more because it was a look inside sort of how the Empire works more. Rebels has done this a few times, but actually would love if they did even more. And what a great moment when Kallus helped them escape. I mean, that was such a cool payoff from last season, because it was a great episode with him and Zeb, and now we saw here, he paid his debt. And what I really like is they're not just sort of quickly having Kallus say, you know what, screw the Empire, I'm joining you guys. It's sort of a slow turn for him, if it's gonna be that. We'll see where he ends up, but I like that it's, you know, something's changed in him, he's not the guy he was, but he's also not completely changed everything about how he acts. It kind of reminds me of Asajj Ventress on the Clone Wars, which was another great character arc that took several years to kind of see how she was going to evolve and go from being just a flat-out evil villain to, I wouldn't say a hero maybe, but something very different. And I think Kallus can maybe be a very similar sort of trajectory here in a cool way. I also liked Governor Pryce in this episode, kind of seeing more of her as a villain. Also, she had a great fight scene with Sabine. In Star Wars, most of the one-on-one physical fights involve lightsabers, because lightsabers are awesome. And even when lightsabers are taken out of the equation, it's usually someone with the Force who can do bigger-than-life things. Here it was two women who were just brawling. It was a brief fight, but I still thought it kind of got the point across because it was pretty brutal, and they were just sort of, you know, punching and bashing each other in a way that you don't usually see in a Star Wars fight. And then I love that they threw in Hobby too as one of the other people escaping with Wedge, because yeah, again, there's all these pilots that are name dropped in Star Wars, and Hobby from Empire Strikes Back. Why not get him in there too? So yeah, overall, this was a really fun episode that gave us a little more insight into the Empire. Hoping to see more of that. What'd you think? Let me know in the comments what you thought of this episode. You can read my full review at IGN.com. And for plenty more on all things Star Wars Rebels and all things Star Wars, keep it here at IGN.